Right. If I wanted to manifest in 2024, this is what I would do. And I probably picked the wrong place to film this video because I'm walking uphill. So yeah, if I seem out of breath, that's why, because it's been a long walk uphill. Anyway, so really, it will come down to one main thing. And I know there's different aspects of manifestation. You've got like changing your self-identity and all of this stuff, right? But really, the biggest, like the fastest thing that will have the biggest difference the fastest, in my opinion, is the environment, the inputs and outputs. And I talk about, there's a whole module in my course about inputs and outputs for manifestation. I'll use a simple example. If you had a seed, right, you plant the seed and it didn't grow, you wouldn't blame the seed, you would blame the soil, right? You would think about, did I water it enough? Is it in the right soil, right? Did I water it too much? You wouldn't really blame the seed. Now, the seed is part of it, but really it's about the environment. You would also start to think about, if the seed didn't grow, you would start to think about, well, did it get enough sunlight? Was it in the right position? Was it kept in sunlight for long enough, right? All these things. It's to do with the environment. And so in exactly the same way, if you're trying to manifest, but you are still hanging around with the same negative friends, going to the same job you don't like, living in the same neighborhood, which may or may not be dangerous or low vibration. The people around you, your neighbors, might not be high vibration, right? The music you listen to is maybe, it's a leaf, reinforcing negative patterns and ideas. The movies you watch might be scary, horror movies, fear-based, right? You start to see the bigger picture here, right? If all of those things, you could think of those as your inputs, the things that are stimulating your nervous system, the information that's coming into your brain, and the information your senses are absorbing, right? And it even goes beyond that, right? Like the food you're eating. What food are you actually putting into your body? What water? What type of water? Because not all water is the same. If you're just drinking, tap water, right? Or soda, or juice with lots of added sugar, it's not good, right? Now, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionalist, I should make that very clear, but what is clear from summarizing and studying the studies, like looking at the research, is that that's very important. Diet and nutrition is super important, and there's certain things which we generally across the board know are just not good, like sugar, soda, alcohol. Like these things are just across the board not good. And so if that's your inputs, if you're inputting those things, then how can you possibly expect good outputs? How can you possibly expect your body, your mind, your life to change? It won't until you change the inputs. So the first thing, and this is why I say it's the fastest, you're going to get the results the fastest with this. It's the first step. You need to change all of the inputs at the same time, because you don't know which one is affecting you. And to be honest, any bad input is bad, right? It's got to go. So what I would advise you to do, and I'm going to try and keep this as concise as possible, because this is something I go way more into depth with in my manifestation course, which is the links in the description. But the first thing you should do is, it's called an audit, like a review almost. Like you're going to go through all these different areas of your life and you're going to audit them. You're going to start with your friends, the people, right? That's the first step, the people in your life, your friends, colleagues, the people you spend the most time talking to or being around. And next to each name, you're going to write down, if you could score it out of 10, right? 10 being every time I speak to them or spend time with them, I feel amazing. 1 being every time I speak to them or spend time with them, I feel like drained, negative, depressed, sad, angry, right? And you're going to see what score they have. And 5 is kind of neutral. Like they don't add anything, but they don't take anything away from you. So that would be like acquaintances, work buddies who, you're just kind of neutral about it. You just say hi in the hallway, whatever. Okay, they're neutral. Now, neutral is fine. What we want to identify is, where are the biggest negative scores? Which people, specifically people, are giving you the most negative scores? Which ones are taking away the most from you? And you want to limit time with them. Either cut them out completely or start to limit your time with them. And then the people who give you a score more towards a 10, the people who feel amazing when you hang out with them, you want to spend more time with them. You want to put more energy into them. Spend more time following up with them, messaging them, texting them, calling them, arranging to do stuff with them. Okay? And what this is going to do is it's changing your inputs. So it's changing your inputs from being, it might be like the majority negative to the majority positive. So that's people, okay? Now with setting, this is something which is a lot harder to change because, you know, you live where you live. And right now you might not be able to afford, or for some other reason you might not be able to move or change where you live. But if where you live is not making you feel great, if you live in a dangerous neighborhood, if you live in a place which has no soul, has no life, which doesn't make you feel good, you want to at least try and think about, how can I possibly change this if I had to? Could you maybe get a different job with the same company in a different town? Could you maybe move to a slightly better street? A slightly nicer apartment, right? These things, you just start to consider these things. You don't have to make any changes to them, you know, right now, but just start to think about them. I'm sorry about the plane noise, it should go away in a second. So that's people and environment. The next is nutrition, like what you're eating and what you're drinking. So as a standard, and I consider these I call them non-negotiable stuff, right? And this is a list of things, and I'm not going to tell you the whole list because it's huge. Well, it's not huge, but it's quite big. It's a list of things that I consider to be non-negotiable, things that are just required for basic human body maintenance. And that is 2 liters of water a day, at least your BMR calories, so like at least enough calories to maintain your weight and energy and muscles and strength, and a general multivitamin. Now you can obviously, that's the basics, right? You can also obviously add stuff on top of that. And along with the basics, I would also say to avoid anything known to be an irritant. So avoid or limit caffeine, alcohol, too much salt, fried foods, seed oils, and obviously alcohol and tobacco if you can, and recreational drugs. There's a couple of for the most part, just avoid everything like that. And then on top of that, so that's what you should avoid. Okay, what you should increase is like a wide range of plant-based food sources, healthy, lean, ideally organic or free-range meats if you're going to eat meat. And I'm not, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other about vegetarian versus meat eater, as long as it's healthy, lean, clean, not this processed crap. And a probiotic, like some kind of probiotic in the morning. So that's what I would consider for nutrition, the non-negotiables. Some more non-negotiables in terms now. So that was step 3. Okay, 3 steps here. First step, people. Second step, environment. Third step, nutrition. Fourth step, it's a bonus one, right? So if you stuck around this long, you get a bonus one. The fourth step is to do with body. I don't know what you would call this. Physical maintenance, right? Optimizing your physical body and mind. And so for those things, I have another set of non-negotiables, things I have to do every day just to maintain my body. And that is meditation, good sleep, so at least 8 hours, but solid quality sleep. Like for those 8 hours, you're just out, okay? Out like a light. And for that, I recommend an eye mask, melatonin, dark room, quiet room, cold, this sort of stuff. I'm trying to be concise because I'm trying to give you a bit of everything in this video. So you want good sleep, good water. So that 2 liters of water needs to ideally be filtered through a Berkey filter or bottled water. But if you get bottled, it needs to be from a glass bottle, not plastic, because otherwise you're just drinking plastic. Okay. And then on top of that, you need to also walk. So go outside, physically walk, ideally in the first half of the day, for between half an hour and 60 minutes. Half an hour to an hour. Another non-negotiable, and this is a little bit harder when it's raining, but my neighbours probably think I'm crazy. I've literally been outside in the garden in the rain, barefoot on the grass. And so that is grounding. Grounding has a few benefits. Reduces inflammation, reduces like the stress in your body, and is also outside, right? So the vast majority of the time, to ground, you need to be outside. So then you get the benefits of daylight, fresh air, right? All the bacteria, healthy bacteria from the soil. It's good for a number of reasons. So I try and do that for at least 10 minutes a day, and also at least in the first half of the day. Like the earlier, the better, actually. And that's it. That's the non-negotiables. If you do those things, that's what I would do. That is what I'm doing to manifest. And the reason that manifests, and I'm going to cut this video short in a second. The reason that manifests is because it optimizes. It keeps your body and mind healthy, high vibration, high energy, feeling good. And it's basically, you're just kind of like fertilizing the soil. If you imagine your body is like the soil, to plant the seed, you need to have really good, high quality, healthy soil. And all those things I just mentioned they are the ways you can improve the quality of the soil. So that anything you plant, if you try and manifest, if you try and change, if you try and improve, it's going to be 10 times easier with the basic foundation stuff. Now, what a lot of people do, unfortunately, is they don't do any of that stuff, and they just try and manifest without changing any of that stuff. And it's very difficult to do that because everything in your environment and life and body is going against you. You're literally climbing up a mountain. But when you do this stuff that I just said, it's a lot easier. So yeah, anyway, I have a lot more about this stuff. You know, this is one of my passions, is teaching and going into this stuff. I get very nerdy about this. I have a lot more about all of this in my course, which is in the description. But you don't have to get that. I'm going to be sharing a bunch of free videos on this channel or wherever you're watching this. So hopefully they help you as well.